Congressman, great to have you on our show.
Well, I'm sure glad to be with you.
You and your colleagues came out today. You're calling for the Attorney General to resign. And already the Department of Justice has responded saying that the Attorney General has acted responsibly. He's called for the Inspector General to investigate. So what is needed is less partisan showboating. What do you say to that?
Well, I would just suggest that when the government of the United States, under the direction of the Attorney General or under the imprimatur of the Attorney General, sells thousands of high-powered weapons to people they know will take it to cartels in Mexico, dangerous criminals, the notion that that somehow is responsible absolutely beggars description.
Mm-hmm. And to think that the president is going to stand by him, obviously, it looks that way. What do you do to change it? What's the next step? If they're not going to work with you, they're not going to cooperate, they're not going to give you the documents, what else can you do?
Well, I just have to say, and I'm sure this sounds partisan, but it's a sincere conclusion in my heart. If we don't change presidents in 2012, I think this country will be so demonstrably damaged that our children and grandchildren will not walk in the same light of freedom that you and I have been privileged to walk in.
And I think
it is that profound. I mean, it's that significant.
And I think there's a lot of people that just might agree with you on that. And when you look back, I've got to ask you, what was your reaction when you saw the Attorney General last week, when he was testifying, refuse to apologize to the Terry family?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I can only imagine how, Brian's mother must have felt. I can't even really get there, but he at least should have said, I apologize with all of my heart for anything that any of us did by way of, miscalculation. I mean, he could have even couched it in a way that he didn't mean any harm, but he certainly should have apologized for the terrible mistakes that the government made that led to Brian's death. Now, I think there was criminal culpability here. I really do. And I'll say it in this way: if a private citizen in the United States had sold even one gun to a Mexican drug cartel member, and that member had killed a citizen of the United States, the private citizen would be in deep trouble in a criminal investigation. But when a government does it, and it's thousands of guns, then, of course, they're suggesting that that's a responsible attitude. Those of us that believe strongly in the Second Amendment truly believe that our commitment to the Second Amendment means that someone who is a law-abiding citizen should have the absolute right to defend themselves and to protect themselves, and should have the right to own and bear arms. We've always been very willing to say that someone who is a criminal that's demonstrated felonious actions to kill other people, innocent people, should not have guns. And yet this administration, who would take guns away from law-abiding citizens, is now willing to make sure that thousands of them fall into the hands of dangerous cartel criminals. Now, the conflict there blows my mind.
Yes, I know. And the reason I was asking about the apology, because the Attorney General goes on to say that he doesn't think it's fair to say that the mistakes made in Fast and Furious led directly to the death of Brian Terry. And then in the next breath, he's talking about how he knows we are all going to pay for years to come a price for what happened with Operation Fast and Furious. And this is a man who says he doesn't need to resign, that he's being responsible, that he's being accountable.
Yeah, well, he's not only is he not being responsible or accountable, I don't even think he's being transparent or candid. For him to suggest, we know that he knew about it almost a year before. He said, well, I may have learned about it a few weeks ago. So there's a major credibility gap here. As it happens, I called upon the Attorney General to either repudiate trying terrorists in here in the United States in our home courts here, or either repudiate that or resign. I called on that a long time ago. Once again, the media kind of ignored it at that time. Now, this is a second time when large numbers of Congress are saying that he should resign, and he really needs to. I think that the right thing for him to do would be to come to the committees and tell the truth about what happened there, and say, and as the leader of the Department of Justice, I intend to resign to take full responsibility for this tragedy.
Well,
not because he's culpable himself in every way, just simply because he's the Attorney General.
Well, it doesn't look like that's going to happen, at least not right away. So the fight goes on.
Yes, ma'am.
Switching gears, I've got to ask you about right to carry reciprocity. I know there was supposed to be a vote in the House today on the National Right to Carry Reciprocity Bill. Can you give us a status on that bill right now?
Yes, the rule has been voted on, and it passed just a few moments ago. The full bill will be debated tomorrow and voted on tomorrow. I will. In fact, I carried a large part of the bill, as you know, in committee, and we'll be responding to gutting amendments by Democrats tomorrow on the floor. I have every conviction that the bill will pass and that it will help make many Americans safer as a result.
So you think it's going to pass the House for sure, but you think it's going to be tough to get it through the Senate? What are your thoughts on that? That's what we're hearing.
Well, my concern is, yes, I do think it's going to pass the House.
Okay.
But of course, Mr. Reid, the President of the Senate, or I'm sorry, the Majority Leader of the Senate, I am convinced will do everything he can to try to stop the bill. And we need to change the Senate. But let me tell you, as I mentioned earlier, and I again, it sounds political, but for the sake of everything that we love in this country, not only for the Second Amendment, but for the rest of the constitutional foundations of this country, for the national security, for maintaining our economic freedoms, and for just to protect the ideals that brought America into being, this nation better change presidents, or America will be relegated to a second-rate power in the not-too-distant future.
All righty. Well, Congressman, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, and we'll be watching for that vote tomorrow, and maybe we'll get you back on after that.
Thank you, and thank all of you for what you do.
All righty.
My children have a better chance to be free because of what you do.